They can.
Can you recognize the one at the look on?
Can't. All they can see is the screen. No way.
Okay.
All right, we're going to get started. Recording now. We're going to start by talking about open houses. So if you've never run an open house before, we'll just kind of run through the tips, which you'll see here. We gave you. You can also find these tips and open house disclosures and open house sign-in sheets on Dotloop under the second tab from the top right, which is your templates tab when you log in. You see the second round button from the top right, that's templates. If you click on that and click on office documents, you can find these to print out more, the tips sheets, the disclosures, and the sign-in sheets. So just so you guys know what you're looking for those. If you're going to run open houses, you probably want to buy some signs. If you're new getting into the business, you want to have probably 6 to 8 open house signs. We sell them in the office for $10 a piece, or you can order them through like Oakley.com. Just to sign it, the arrows and the stakes. If you really want to have a little bit of money, you really want to get a nice tent sign, those are advisable too. It just depends. If you think a good portion of your business wants to be buyers, then I would maybe invest in some open house signs so you have enough to cover a good area. The more you put up, the better. I mean, obviously you don't want to put up 30 or 40. You might confuse people. But put up enough and look at a map before you, as you're planning your open house, look at a map and see what major roads are on it. Plan out where you're going to put your open house signs before you even go out on that morning, so you know exactly where you plan to put them to try to get traffic. The other great part about buying your own is you can have, if you use like a dry erase marker, or if you have certain set times you like to do open houses, you can put on those open houses signs Sunday 11 to 1, Saturday 11 to 2. That way you can put out a good amount of them on Saturday, knowing one thing, you might lose a few, but your attendance is going to be better if people can see it for a full day before your actual open house, rather than just if they happen to be in the area that next morning when you're having the open house.
I see some signs go up middle of like Wednesday or Thursday for a Sunday open house.
At the house or in the
on the main roads.
Yeah. Definitely in front of the house. Put one up like a week before. At least a couple, or stick 3 or 4 of them right in the lawn, right in front of the house. So it kind of looks like a sign parade. And that way, if you come back there Sunday morning, you can grab a few of them and put them down the street if you're afraid of losing a bunch. To me, it's kind of a cost of doing business. You're going to lose some, but it's a cost of accumulating business. So
the way to reduce your losses to buy your own with your own name on it. Nobody's going to steal your sign.
Usually when they disappear, it's an angry neighbor. He just doesn't like to see them. Takes them, throws them out. One of my agents found out that it's illegal in the town. In the town of Groton, you cannot put signs out on any town-owned land. So they were pulling them and taking them back to the town hall, and she found them all at the town hall.
Was that the post from the other day?
What's that?
Yeah. It was? That's where they all were?
Yeah, they were at the town hall.
Some towns won't allow directional signs, but I think on a Sunday for an open house, most towns wouldn't mess with it. But that's where you have to be careful on the corner. It could be town land. So when you put it, you want to put it as close to the street as possible so people will see it. And also, I've had people take my sign and throw it on the ground because they thought it was in their yard, and it was clearly, you know, because the street ends here or the sidewalk ends here. The real property line is like 10 feet in. But this bastard, you know, just took my sign out and threw it on. I wanted to go confront him, but I said, "No, don't be Italian."
Yeah. Yeah. So you got your signs. You want to start planning it as soon as possible in the week because that gives you time to throw it out on Facebook, on your own Facebook page, put it on Craigslist, and other things. So I see a lot of times on our private Facebook group, it's on a Friday or a Thursday or a Wednesday. Hey, I'd like to do an open house this week. You really should be asking on like Monday or Tuesday. Hey, I'd like to do an open house. So that that listing agent sets up the balloon on MLS for that open house, and you want to make sure that they set that up because you won't have access to do that. The listing agent has to, but that they get the open house balloon into MLS. Preferably, even if you look at MLS, I like to put it right in the description. If you've got any agents that are price changing or you're price changing the listing, before I actually change the listing price, I'll go in to the description and put it at the very beginning, open house, Sunday, put the date in there. If you put Sunday 11 to 2, that, and you forget to take it out of there, then they're gonna be there next week and calling you, why isn't the open house going on? So put in Sunday, October 31st, 11 to 1, and then change the price, because when that filters out throughout the internet to all these different websites, it's not only going to show up as a balloon where the balloons show up, but it's also going to be in the description on Zillow and Trulia, wherever it goes to. So that's some little tips and tricks. And if you ever have a listing and you're talking about, you know, the seller, even small price reductions in addition to this open house and putting that in the description, it can work, just to kind of keep throwing it out there and advertising it that way. So make sure whoever you're doing the open house for, make sure they get that balloon in. If it's possible, as I said, combine it with a price reduction. Run Craigslist ads 2 times before the open house. Run one on like Tuesday or Wednesday, and then run one on a Friday or Saturday morning. And you can put in there a link to your website with the listing. And when we launch our new website, even if you're doing an open house on Mattio's listing, you can still go to your own website, go to Mattio's listing, and link to your Facebook or your Craigslist ads that listing, so that if someone in your friend group or someone on Craigslist that you put that ad out there for clicks on that listing to look at it, it's going to be your lead because you ran the ad and not go to Mattio's listing agent, because you're doing these things to build your business. So so run a couple of Craigslist ads a week. There are real buyers that still come from Craigslist. I know agents that have kind of gotten away from Craigslist because Craigslist got away from having direct links. You used to be able to click on a link and go to a listing. Now you have to copy and paste that link out to get it, but there's still buyers that go there. Call or door knock in the neighborhood with flyers and business cards the day before the open house. Go on Saturday when you're going to go put out some of your signs, just knock some doors in the neighborhood. Just say, hey, we're having an open house tomorrow. I'm not sure if you know anybody that's looking to buy, but got this great house, or stop by and say hi. You might run into a few different things. You might run into a neighbor who said, oh, I got a friend that's been trying to get in this neighborhood for a while. Or they might even be looking to buy, or they might even be looking to sell. So you're just introducing yourself to the neighbors, tell them that you have an open house. Great way to kind of promote your open house and do some door knocking. Some agents really like to go out door knocking and try to get business. When you have a reason to, it's a lot easier to say, the reason I'm in the neighborhood is I've got an open house. So,
by the way, have you thought about selling now or in
right.
the future?
Right.
Oh, by the way.
Exactly.
Columbo, stop walking away.
And even if, yeah, you'd be surprised what that does. Let's say you have to talk to a neighbor and they're like, no, I'm good, but thanks for stopping by. If you sell that house and they're thinking about selling in the future, they're going to remember that you were that aggressive agent that decided to walk their neighborhood and introduce yourself. So, good stuff to do. Ask mortgage lender, provide mortgage info with flyers and flyers. If you got a tight relationship with a lender, there's a lot of lenders that will create those flyers for you because they want to put some mortgage information on it. They want to get their advertising out there just as much as ours. So a lot of times they'll even create the nice color flyers for you if you give them enough leeway and enough time.
And they'll give you 2 different ways or 3 different ways to buy the house with FHA, conventional, or they give you that, and it'll all be laid out like this is what you need down, this is what your payment will be. So buyers love to see that because they've never, or not all, but they haven't been to a mortgage person. They have no idea. Jeez. Especially renters. Renters paying $1,000 or $1,200 a month. They realize they can buy for that price. It's like, holy shit. I just need to save up another $2 grand.
Right. If you don't get flyers from the lender and you're doing an open house for somebody else's listing, you want to go into MLS Tools Property History, and you want to find that property and then print out the listing sheets. So what's one of your listings, Mario? Here, I'll just do mine. My wonderful house on 9 Williams in Auburn.
Oh, the best ever.
Who wants to do an open house on this one? Do it.
The lag might mold in the lower crawling basement.
So you find the listing. It's going to be the bottom one, active listing. And then you want to print it out, but you don't. You probably don't have to put the market history on there. It's advisable to put the gallery in there. A lot of people want to be reminded when they get home. What does that look like? What? So you want to put that stuff in there and then just hit print and probably print off. I would print off at least a dozen. Depends. If you think it's a hot new listing and you just like, this is going to be a hot one, I would say 16 to 20. But most of the time it doesn't. We'll get you by, I think.
I do no more than 10.
Huh?
I don't do any more than 10,
No more
even
than
on a
10.
hot one.
Really?
Because if I've got 10 and I've got everybody signed up, I say, listen, I'd love to give this to you, but it's my last one. Can I hold it? Because I need to answer questions. What's your email address? I'll email it to you.
That's a great idea. That's a great one. I never thought about it like that before.
You can't have 3 people signed up and say you run out. That doesn't look good.
Right, right.
You gotta have a few.
Exactly. We talked about putting out the open house signs, posted on Facebook 2 or 3 times. Again, you can go to the websites we're going to be having set up this week. They should be up tomorrow, and you can find that listing, share it on Facebook, and just put in, you know, when you post on Facebook, you can write, so you can put in, hey everyone, come by my open house on Sunday 11 to 1. That's going to reach everybody in your sphere who may or may not have a buyer. So definitely do that. Consider boosting it. If you have a Facebook business page, you guys all have a Facebook business page?
I do.
Yes. Do you boost it on your open house on Facebook business page? No. I've heard it's been working great. If anything, it's if your seller asks, well, how have you been advertising my listing? You can, you know, instead of just doing $20 telegram, $50 telegram ad that gets nowhere, you can show them how you boosted, which is no matter what, growing your impressions in the communities that you're in. But also, I've definitely heard of some buyers coming from seeing it on Facebook. So what that does is when you post on your personal page, it's only going to reach who you're connected to. On the business page, you can pay $20 or $30 to reach something like 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 people within either a 20-mile radius, 50-mile, you know, so you can pick where you want those people to see it, and people that are not connected to you will see those in the newsfeed.
You can get really specific on the boosters, like
Yeah.
word specific, you know, by interest, like we just did the military class,
Yeah.
right? So, I boosted it, I got certified on that, and I was putting keywords, I put in Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, so it went to people that had those same interests.
Yeah, so you can put real estate in there. You can play around with that quite a bit, actually. But,
If you have a listing agent, you should also be emailing all the client matches. It doesn't go to the clients, but it goes to all the agents.
okay, let me show them how to do that. Well, the listing agent's going to do that.
Yeah, the listing agent should.
Yeah,
do
so
that.
if you're the listing agent, or if you want to ask the listing agent to do it, if you see every time you list a property, you got these client matches. If you want to email all the agents that accept emails from this, you can just click on email, and you can send a message to all the agents who have matching clients. You say, hey, I'm having an open house on this one. It should be a hot one. You got clients in this price range, get them over there. Or let me know they're coming and their name. Sometimes even just saying that, agents appreciate that because they understand you're not trying to steal the buy. So,
In front of the address, you have to click on there and put a word or something that captures. I always click on there and put reduced and open or something like that.
right, right.
That way there, because when we get millions, we get bombarded with emails, and if they see it's from MLS, they probably will get rid of it. But if there's one word, 2 words, reduce 10 grand. Interesting. Maybe I'll look at this one.
Right.
So you want to do something, and then my message is always generic. If I do it in the morning, it's good morning agents. If I do it the night before, good evening agents, and they'll say tomorrow or this afternoon I'm hosting an open house. Please send your buyers, or please bring or send your buyers to this spacious 3-bedroom ranch or whatever. Very short and simple.
Yeah. So you just type out your message, your subject line, and you hit send, and it will go out to them. All right, so the day of the open house, probably the day before, but even if it's the morning of, you want to make sure you have your open house disclosures, these 2. Understand that it's one or the other, not both when you're there. So if you read them, if people read them, they would understand. Some people just take both, and I've seen them both up on. You know, the agent conducting this open house either works for the seller and is obligated to promote the best interest of the client. The agent also has a duty to treat everyone honestly. So that would be this one right here. So, you know, everybody know when you would use that one?
When it's my listing.
When it's your listing. That's the first one, because you're working for the seller. If you're hosting an open house for another agent in the office, you use this one. You do not represent the seller. Buyers can have an agent represent them in the purchase of this or other properties. So you use one or the other one. So have those with you, have your sign-in sheet, have a few of the sign-in sheets, have your flyers, and just be prepared for your open house.
What I do with these, I print them out in color, so it's got the logo in color, and I take it just like this, one on one side, one on the other. I bring it to Staples and have them laminated. So I keep that in my open house. I have a book that I bring for open house. So I bring that along with my sign-in sheets, and I basically put the appropriate one out, and if it's the other one, I just flip it over. So I always have it.
Yeah.
You're not killing trees and burning
It
down.
doesn't get all ruined in your car.
It lasts forever. You're not burning down ink trees.
Right,
So,
right.
here's a question, so it says they do not represent the seller, but if they're holding the open house, aren't they a seller's agent regardless, because it's an in-house, it's a listing?
No, and
Because
that's,
I'm a designated seller's agent.
Yeah.
You are not designated to anybody.
it says the person hosting the open house is a host only. You were there, you're not representing the house. You're holding the house open, but you're not representing the house.
I've never heard it that way.
Well, how's this? You ever do an open house in an office? Real estate open house, come learn all about real estate. So basically, when you're doing an open house at a property, the company's marketing, Exit Realty Partners is marketing that property. But you're just a host. You are taking people through. Come on through, check this out, see the kitchen. So you're a tour guide more than a host, a tour guide and a host. You're not actually selling the home. You're actually selling you.
I mean, no different than if you took your own buyers to someone else's listing in the office. You're not representing the listing. You may not even be representing the buyer yet.
Yeah.
No, I would be. If somebody came in and was inquiring about one of our listings, and I don't have a buyer relationship with them, I mean, they just came, I would be a seller's agent, because the listing is under Exit Realty.
No, you wouldn't.
No.
We killed sub-agency. We took sub-agency out back and shot it and buried it.
So how would you,
So you would mark the disclosure.
You're a potential, actually, if they're not willing to make a commitment to you to have you represent them as a buyer's agent, and you start showing a property, you're actually a facilitator. Meaning you're just doing stuff to make something happen maybe, but you have no allegiance to anybody. Because you don't have a contract with the seller.
no, but I'm an extension of the broker. So my broker has a contract with that seller.
He does.
Right.
But you don't unless you have a listing.
That's why.
But I represent my broker's interests, so no matter what, if my broker, whatever, we're an extension of the broker. So if the broker has any agent has a listing under the broker that's affiliated with the broker. If a buyer, we're not affiliated with that buyer, I don't have a buyer agency agreement,
Right.
then by default, I'm a seller's agent because I represent the broker.
No, you can't.
Why not?
That was a sub-agent.
Designated agency.
Well, so
When designated agency came into existence back in '05, it eliminated that sub-agency in the right, basically before, when you looked at the helicopter view of the state, there was a broker in charge of the office or offices. And underneath him were all of these agents, salespeople and brokers, and they were all connected string-wise. And we were all connected, we were all connected hanging from the broker, and we all interconnected with strings all the way through. When designated agency came in, they cut, even though we worked for Tracy, they cut the strings that connected us directly. No, they cut the strings connecting us as agents. We all work through Tracy. So if I have a listing, that client through me goes to Tracy. If you have a buyer, the same thing. But we don't connect in that same pendulum. Like we
So
used
my duties are to not disclose, and I have to be
He's always the disinterested
intermediate. Yeah,
third
right.
party. He's the dual.
So is that because of our listing agreements here, or is that?
It's the agency. It's
I haven't
the
seen it,
agency relationships.
I haven't seen any sub-agency around in years.
You see people offering 2.5 to a sub-agent, to a facilitator, and to a buyer's agent.
No, I get that, but I thought the designated agency really came into play when we had dual agency. where, to eliminate that, which in our listing contract, that's how I understand it, that the designated agency portion, that if that ever occurs, I'm the designated agent for the seller, and that's just what it's going to be, to avoid dual agency with another agent within the office.
Right. That's why it came that way.
So otherwise, if that was the case, then every time a listing agent in the office had a listing and a buyer in the office brought a buyer to that listing, then in those regards, it would always be dual agent.
It would always,
It's not.
it was, well,
Because you're a designated.
because I'm a designated, right, because the listing agreement says I'm a designated agent, so then at that point,
Right.
so then the buyer has to be a designated agent, the buyer agent would be a designated buyer agent as well.
Correct.
But by default, though, that's what I'm saying, like, just without that.
Yeah, there is no default. It doesn't automatically make you anything other than a facilitator. If you were a facilitator, you have no representation, abilities, or duties to anybody when you first meet somebody. The goal when you first meet somebody is to get them to sign a contract, either a listing contract or a buyer contract. But until you do that, you should be walking and talking like a facilitator. Okay. And because when you first meet him, you read all 5 of those things: designated buyers, designated sellers, facilitated, dual, and disclosed. And facilitate is a non-agency relationship. So you just explain to them, until you make a decision, I'm going to be acting as a facilitator. I have no obligation to keep any of your secrets secret. So don't tell me anything you would want used against you.
Okay. I did not think that way at all. So I thought the sub-agency was still in play for under your broker.
It's still dangerous.
We would sign the agency consumer relationship form differently. We always check the second box, which states that we're a designated.
We're a designated office company.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Okay. All right. So other stuff, cookies.
No,
No.
got it.
Did we just confuse them?
No, actually you didn't, surprisingly so.
Okay.
I followed everything.
Well, you know,
Most,
the people who've been in the business longer have a harder time grasping it because we were trained in a particular way.
yeah,
And then
I
they said,
can see
oh,
that.
by the
That's
way,
true.
let's fix this.
All right, cookies. Cookies. If you can bring cookies, you can go out and get those individually wrapped cookies. That way you can keep them in like a basket and like maybe some little water, and keep them in a basket in your car and use them every weekend as opposed to buying fresh cookies or making fresh cookies every day. Your signs, your balloons. I recommend you put a few balloons out on your sign in front of the house. Your business cards. Make sure you have your business cards. Print out 4 to 6 similar listings, or if you have an iPad, have them readily handled on an iPad. Because when you got someone walking through the house and they come back and you're talking to them and say, well, "What do you think? Is this the house for you?" And they go, "Not really what I'm looking for." You can start to have that conversation. Well, what are you looking for? What didn't you like about it? Similar homes in the area. Here's and they start to tell you. You can have something ready and say, "Well, here's one that might work. It's pretty similar to this house, same price. Worth it. Worth showing it to them." And if you're really working your market, and that's why I would recommend everybody really work their market. And the Altman brothers were kind of a reminder to me of that. Is you got to become a master of your market. You should know everything about your market. You should try to go to all the open houses for the market that you're working in. If you're working Holden, you should know what everything is going on in Holden, and how's it sound, what the price is. You know what I mean? If you give those guys any credit, Josh Altman, who we saw at the convention, he knows his numbers. You can walk in and say, "I know this is what your house is going to sell for." You know your numbers, so that way you could say, "Oh, I know an exact house. I think it would be perfect for you. Do you want to set up a showing sometime? I'd love to show it to you." And that could be a key in for getting, that buyer to come back and work with you. Always have a couple offer forms ready. So go on .loop and pull out your offer forms. If they're ready to make an offer, you want to make it as easy as possible. They might say, "Oh, let us go home and talk about it. We'll call you up." And oh, great, I can do it over .loop. I can do it via e-signature, and we can handle it from my home to your home. That sounds great. But if you got a hot one, you might just have a buyer that says, "Let's do this." They're ready to do it.
Even if people want to go home and think about it, say, well, I can email that to you, but why don't I just go over the form just so you know what it says?
Exactly.
And you can pass it out.
Dress professionally. Make it just like Mario. If they have a storm door, keep the inside door open to make the house approachable. Turn on all the lights. If they have music or you have, an iPhone with one of those little speakers, bring it and have some nice little music playing. But definitely turn on all the lights.
Open up all the shades. Open the shades. Put the curtains back. I had a house one time that I did that, and it was so dirty. I washed the kitchen window because the light didn't get any brighter when I did that, and the owner was upset with me.
I definitely think that if a buyer looks at the house and it looks unapproachable or just kind of scary looking, people get scared by little things. They might just keep driving. They're like, oh, nobody's parked in the driveway, and some creepy agent's probably in there. So make it as approachable as possible. Bring other stuff to work on. If you have a slow open house, bring some expireds. Have a list of 10 calls you can make if you've got one of those completely dead open houses, so that no matter what, when you leave, you had a good 2 hours or hour and a half or whatever. What is everybody doing for hours? Is it an hour, 2 hours, hour and a half, 1 hour?
I've been doing one, and
I'm a
then
1 hour
staying
guy.
later if I need
Yeah, does it
to,
work well?
obviously.
It's always worked best.
No matter what with open houses,
1 hour?
show up 15, be at the house 15 minutes early, because people will come early, and plan on staying 15 minutes late. So plan for that. So if you do a 2 hour open house, it's going to be more like 2.5. If you plan an hour, you're looking at an hour and a half. So I see a lot of agents do an hour, hour and a half.
And I do an hour just because people have typically shown up like when you're turning the lights on, or they're there before you, or they're there like when you're going around shutting the lights off. It's 5 minutes before the other. You're shutting the lights off. Somebody pulls in the friggin' driveway. Son of a bitch. Shut those lights. Turn those lights back on.
Right, exactly.
Get rid of the middle section. 1 hour is plenty.
I like doing the hour because it just jam-packs people in all at once, and nothing much better than having another
That's
person
right.
roaming around.
Honey, I think she's right. Why don't we write an offer? Those people over there, they seem really
I
interested.
didn't even think of it that way.
Another tip, you'll have your open house flyers, and then I suggest we have some nice folders that we had made up here. If you don't have any, I can you guys, if you don't have any, I can give you some before you leave. I've still got a bunch of them. Have 6 or 8 of them made up with the open house flyer, with maybe a printout of a few similar listings in the area. And if you go on the Exit Resource Center and go to the Documents tab, when you log in, there's a buyer presentation in there that's Word and PowerPoint version that you can modify and make your own. It's got a lot of good tips in it and kind of a guide for the buying process. Print those out, package it all up with your business card, and have those on the counter, maybe off a little bit. When they sign the sign-in sheet, and you look at the sign-in sheet, and it asks them on there, working with a realtor, who's your realtor? If they put no, you don't hand them the single sheet, you hand them the packet. It's I'm giving you something special. And they might just take that home and be like, wow, that agent had their stuff together. They gave me some nice information. I got their business card. I got some similar listings. And when you follow up, you might be more apt to get that buyer to want to go out with you again. So give them something special. The better you can make that packet, the better off you see it, in my opinion. So there's a lot of resources out there, even if you Google like home buying guides, home buying tips, checklist. I mean, we have a few of those things in Dotloop, but you can find a lot of that stuff just on the internet. But, I've seen some agents do this, giving away a $10 gift card, sign a registration sheet. I'll give you a $10 gift card. They put it just on a Word document, so it's on the table. Sign in, your chance to win a $10 gift card, and draw once a month or something like that. Ask for referrals. If someone says, it's just really not for me, oh, do you know anybody that might be interested in this house? You'd be surprised if you ask that question. Sometimes they'll be like, oh, I might. And then you ask more questions. So. Follow up with all buyers who attended that are not working with an agent the next day. Anybody do this? Next day?
I normally wait 2 days.
2 days.
And I always call up. I say, hey, Lewis came to the open house on Sunday afternoon. It was on, because I don't know how many they looked at, so I'll tell them the address. I just want to say thanks for coming, and just, do you have a minute? Well, yeah, what's up? I'll just ask you, what did you think about the house overall, and what do you think the price, what do you think it's really going to sell for? You just ask them 2 questions and let them start to talk, and then say, okay, well, when do you think you might be making a move? When you're ready to pull the trigger, dude. So you start asking questions and build rapport. Say, do you get listings emailed to you? Has anyone explained to you the benefits of facilitation?
Yeah.
And because most agents still don't do the relationship disclosure properly, or don't do it at all because they're afraid of it. So has anyone ever sat down and explained to you the benefits of real buyer representation? No, really. Tell you what I'll do. I don't know. I'll be over tonight at 6 or 7.
Sure.
Right.
Make sure food's ready.
Right. Exactly. So, and then we can talk a little bit about that, about questioning when you're at open houses. Preferably, I think a slow and steady open house is better than a crazy busy open house. Because if you have a crazy busy open house, it's like the revolving door. They're coming out, you don't have time to talk to anybody. And you still want to follow up with them the next day because your opportunity to build rapport will be over the phone at that point. But if you've got an open house where it's slower, you have an opportunity to engage with them and hopefully gain their trust and a little bit of rapport so that you can either there or afterwards ask the question that Maddie just asked. So has anybody ever explained to you, what true buyer representation means and everything that is involved in the buying process? And if they haven't, then I'd love to do that for you sometime. Why don't we set up a time to meet? You can meet at the office, you can meet at Starbucks, wherever it may be. And we'll do that as another class with the actual buyer presentation. But the key is asking the question. So, you guys have any ideas on what you would be asking people as they're kind of walking through? First of all, you give them a little space. You don't want to be totally up their backside. I mean, personally, I kind of like to follow them a little bit, but let them walk into the room themselves. I'm like in the hallway. I'm kind of listening for what they're saying. I'm trying to develop some questions I want to ask.
I'm more on guard at the kitchen counter or wherever I'm set up.
You let them go all the way through.
I pretty much say, listen, the owners aren't here, so feel free to open up cabinets and closets so you get a real feel for the property. Take all the time you want, and just let me know what kind of questions you have when you come back. So I'm very low selling or low pressure at an open house. I kind of just let them go. When I do the follow-up phone call, that's when I start to work harder on them. Because I figure it's open. If they open the door and they want to talk, I'm all for that. I'll go for the signature if they seem really ready. But I let them take the lead on that until after the open house, and then that's when I go to work.
I think it's different. Different people.
Yeah, I always found when I would do an open house for your house, whoever's house, it's not my listing. I always tell people when they walk in, I'm not the listing agent, I am just here posting. I always do my best to answer your questions, find out the answer, I can get it in 2 seconds. But I always find that telling them I'm not the listing agent relaxes them and they start talking a whole lot more than if I was.
Do you follow around the house and chat with them?
If I feel like we've got a good rapport going, that was kind of, me at this point, like I kind of like to go on this and kind of slightly setting something on or they're kind of like moving.
Right.
So if we've got a good rapport, then I'll chit chat all day with them, but I definitely let them walk around the house.
And that's a great
I don't
point,
want to
because I think a host may actually have a better success running an open house than somebody else's listing, because it's not as stressful. I'm not working for them. I can actually do that.
Well, because I think they feel like I'm not going to put the hard sell on that particular house. You know what I mean? I'm here hosting, helping out a fellow agent.
Right.
So they definitely chit chat a whole lot.
Right, because the reality is that's there for law. They're not going to read that.
No.
They're not going to read the open house disclosure.
No.
So no, that's a very good point. I think you take it by, standoffish, like, all right, we're going to go look around, or they're having a real engaged conversation with you.
You can get some good feedback from the listing agent, because they'll start telling you if like it smells or it's ugly or it's overpriced
Right.
or whatever,
Any other questions on open house? I mean, what are the questions you should be asking if you get into conversation? Oh, how soon you looking to purchase? Where are you moving from? What are the questions?
When they ask, after they get finished looking at it, what things did you like about the house? What things didn't you like?
Yeah.
What would you like to see different? And what would you like different? What would make you happy in a house? You know, find out what they're looking for. And opens, when are you thinking of making a move? Who's your lender? Are you approved?
Are you just looking in hold? You know, just kind of some of those questions that you're trying to find out what they're looking for, so that hopefully you're making mental notes, so that when you call them back, you say, oh, no, you're looking in Holden, but you were willing to maybe go into Sterling. I saw some houses on, which you might be looking at right on the computer as you're talking on the phone. There's some other houses that you might be interested in.
Great way to pick up how to behave in an open house. Go to an open house in an area you're not from. Tell the agent after that you are an agent. See how they behave. How did they do? Because I went to 2 open houses on the same street in Rhode Island, both Remax agents, and one agent was lying through his friggin' teeth. I've known this guy. I've known him for years, but he doesn't remember me. But he was always just blurting up, and I'm saying to myself, no way I'm gonna buy from him. The next guy was very upfront and honest, and just very, a little bit of information, check it out, and let me know what's going on. He followed up the next day. So he's more like me, nice and soft and not pushy. But the other guy was pushy, and he was lying.
That's also a great way to
he would
just
react
kind of
with his own punishment.
pick up little tips from what other people are doing. Just see what other people are doing. You know, so just to find things that might work for you.
And always, when people come, I never stay at once they're in, I stay at my station. But when people are coming, I go open the door. I have my hand right out there with them to greet them. I've had people slow down.
And the biggest
creepy guy, they run away.
The biggest thing is when they say the name, focus on remembering the name.
That's the hardest thing.
And if you meet one, make sure you remember the other's name. Because if they start to progress, I've been in so many situations, I'm like, how do I get the wife's name? How do I get the wife's name? I don't remember her name. He introduced himself first. That's all I remember. Oh, how do you want to write your name on that offer?
Correct spelling.
What's the correct spelling on your name? So.
Just hope they don't say, because I've had to have her name a couple of times.
It's just like it sounds.
And they go,
Or let me see a pre-approval before we write this offer. So, it's good to remember names.
Pre-approval says Mr. and Mrs.
Yeah.
Right.
Leave their first names off.
Right. So, all right. So that's good. You're good on open houses. And just remember, when you're doing an open house for somebody in the office, you're not doing it as a favor. You're doing it to get your own business. Any business you get from that doesn't buy that house is your business. The listing agent's not getting a piece of it. If it ends up selling through a co-broker, you're not getting anything. You're doing it to try to gain buyer leads and grow your business, and that's it. So it's not a favor. It's not hurting. You say, well, I'm just doing a favor, and I was late because I was doing a favor, and it's not my problem because I was doing a favor for him. I'm like, no, you're doing it to grow your business. It doesn't look good on you and the listing agent when you're late. It's one of the best ways. Years ago, with telephone in an office was the uptime they call it, opportunity time. That's dead. Open houses are the best. It's better than a telephone call. You're meeting people. You're shaking their hand. If you did 2 or 3 a month, I guarantee you would close business in a year. I can't tell you how much, but I guarantee you would. Because you run into buyers who are. You think about it from an internet lead or a buyer coming to an open house, which is better? Buyer and open houses all day long. This is a roadmap. It's really simple. Just do this, and do one open house every Sunday, or do 2, and that's why I like an hour. I'll do one from 11 to 12, and then if it's close by, I'll do another one from 12:30 to 1:30. If it's far away, I'll do 1 to 2. So if I'm gonna have a Sunday when I'm working, I'm gonna do 2 one-hour open houses. One at $150,000 price range, one at $250,000.
especially if you're in a USDA area where you can buy the house with no money down, it's huge. I mean, I put that on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
I got phone calls. Not just, hey, I'm interested, you know, hold, if you're not familiar with it, you know, I can help you with that, or talk to your lender. But like Holden, I know Boston, I know money down. Lester, Paxton, no money down. So you're doing, you know, pretty much everything except for Worcester, Millbury, Grafton, Auburn. That's it. And then further up.
When
can
you
buy
are,
no money
when
down.
you get, are you pre-approved? No, I don't have enough for down payment.
Oh, yeah. Boom, listen, this is available, you know, especially if you put it in your packet, your specific one, buy, you know, no money down, this is that. 80% of my business right now is just USDA, because it's people that said, I would buy a house, but I don't have enough for a down payment. And I said, well, if I showed you how to do it without a down payment, would you still be interested? They said, yes.
You become a
Way to
hero.
go.
They love you for life.
And that's it, and that's just what I'm doing.
All right, let's move on to seller prospecting. Have you guys all done expired searches in MLS? Oh, not you, right? We'll go over that quick. So in MLS, when you log in and you click on your search tab, you can search obviously active listings, but you can also use this to search expired listings. Expired listing is one that was on the market. It fell off the market. That listing fell off the market. And I'll show you how you have to go look for the expired that fell off the market, but make sure they never came back on the market. Because if you list with one office and then list with another office, it's going to be a whole new listing number. In fact, even if it's in the same office, if you let it lapse more than I think a week, you would end up with a new listing number. So what you want to do is you want to search the expireds and cancels in a particular town. So let's look at Auburn. In Auburn. And you want to look at a time frame. So it could be today through 6 months, or you could erase this and put 1/1/2010 through 1/1/2014. You could look at a 4-year span of expireds and create a prospecting list from this to start working. So I'll kind of show you how to do that. Let's just do today through 6 months, just as an example. There's a count of 29. I'm going to hit search. And now I have to make sure that these listings that expired or canceled didn't come back on the market. The way you do that is you click on it, click on each one, the property history button. It's going to pull up a history, the oldest to newest, any listings that match that property address. So this one was expired, but you can see UAG. UAG means under agreement. So somebody got that expired listing listed again and under agreement. And look, it was listed for the same price. It expired at $154.9. It went on the market at $154.9, and it's under agreement. Somebody won. Somebody won after that expired. You got it. So you can't prospect that one. So you hit the backspace, the back arrow, twice. And I typically check the ones that I can keep, because after you're all said and done, you're either checking them. This was messed up for a while. I don't know if it is still is not, but I would check the ones you can prospect, and then at the end hit keep. So you just have to click on each one, click on the property history. That one, the old listing was sold, but then it expired when it was on the market. So that one I can work because it's still expired.
Yeah, that's a thing called Lucy Lucky.
Oh, was it? Well, let's pretend it wasn't. So I'm going to check that one. I'm going to keep that one. And you just basically, after you get used to this a while, you can just double click. It was canceled. That was the most recent was a canceled, so that one I can go after.
Well, if you look at it, it's actually, it was canceled as a single family, but sold as a 2-family.
Oh, okay.
You
got to watch out for that.
They had the listing in there as either or, because it was clearly a 2-family years ago.
Sometimes you have to watch this where it's a type, and you might have to look at it, and both the listing dates were the same. So that is right. You get that one you wouldn't be able to do because it was people put 2 listings with the same address, one in single, one in multi, and they sold one and they just can't see the other listing. So you got to watch out for that. But other than that, you just basically go down through the list, click on it, click on your property history. This one came back on the market, was contingent. not far off what it was originally listed for. So this is this market this year has been primed for listings coming back on and selling. So it's worth taking the time to kind of go through MLS and pick your towns you want to work and just go through this and mark the ones that you can do, go after. That one sold. So that one came back on the market and sold. But if you're looking at going through 150, 200 listings, you'll probably find 30 to 40, maybe 50 that still expired and were sold. The reality of someone that's trying to sell that expired and fell off the market is at some point they're going to return to their goals. I don't know many people that just say, sorry, honey, that didn't work. We're staying in this house forever. You know, they usually at some point.
You're staying in this house forever. I'm moving out.
Right. Then you got three kids.
Yeah, there you go.
Then you got three. You get the divorce and selling them both the house. But so they're worth working. Once you check off all the ones you want to keep, you hit keep. You've got your revised list. You can download it. You can print them. What I usually do is, depending on what I'm doing, I will usually download them because then you can create labels from downloading them into an Excel, and you can, if you know how to do it, you can do a mail merge. I don't know if you guys know how to do that or not. I can probably teach you sometime, but even still, I also will usually just print this page. That way I can go to like superpages.com, or they have these people search websites. PIPPL is one that I haven't tried yet that I heard at the convention. You can find people on PIPPL. And one of the nice things about like super pages is you can do a reverse address search. So you can put the address in there and find if there's a phone number associated with that person. So, and then you can also start to do some mailings from it, or you can do some door knocking. The point is, if you go through the effort of making this list, start to do something with it. Start to try to find phone numbers, start to try to send some mailers out, start to try to door knock, and try to find out if you can revive these expired and they're coming back in the market. You'd be surprised if you work on them. Sometimes you just run into people that are like, oh yeah, I'm thinking about doing something. And sometimes you get the, I'm not even close to being ready, all you really is to get lost. But there are some that will come back on the market. I have some agents that would prefer that they not find a phone number. If they don't find a phone number, then not many people are door knocking them. And if there's not many people door knocking, that increases your chances if you do go door knocking.
Yeah, most people will probably hang up and be rude to you on the telephone, but they probably won't close the door if you're knocking on the door.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so everybody get how you can do that? You guys know how to do a search for expired or active entry onlys? So
Can you go after an entry only?
Actually, an entry only is a different business model. They pay their fee up front.
Yeah.
It's a listing agreement, but it's a limited listing agreement. The Code of Ethics says that you cannot go after anyone who is exclusively represented by to solicit their business.
Yeah.
Not seduce, solicit. You can't do that. That's another discussion I'm going to have with somebody. But you can solicit their business for another type of relationship. They have an entry-only relationship. That is not a full listing relationship. So you can call them and say, hey, how would you like to work with a full-service broker? Or
personally, I wouldn't advise you to use that approach.
Yeah, you got to go really cautious with that. You could call up and say, hey, listen, I saw your house is listed. I was just calling to see where were you moving to, and you have buyer agency representation on the other side. That's a
or Johnny Lloyd's approach, and I really like the approach of, saw your house is on the market for sale by owner. I like to look at all the properties in my area that I work in. I'd love to see your house sometime.
Is that for entry only? Or
entry only.
Okay.
Yep, because you're just asking to see their house. They say, why you have a buyer? They are often says a lot of buyers, then we might, or I haven't seen your house yet. So I'd love to see it. Sometimes it's convenient to you. You can get your door in most for sale by owners. Your foot in the door with most for sale by owners just by asking to see it. Then you can build your rapport chat with them, talk about where they're moving. You know, you got a good 10, 15 minutes looking at the house to build your rapport. It's like having, you know, it's a great opportunity to try to, you know, win a little favor with them. And then at the end, if you're comfortable enough and confident enough, you can say, you know what, I really enjoyed looking at your house. You got a beautiful home. It's really is great. You know, if you ever do decide to list with an agent, I'd love to show you what I do just in case you do ever decide. I do know that most for sale by owners tend to get tired of trying to sell it themselves and list. So let me just show you what I do, just so you know what we do in case you do decide. And who knows, you may learn a little bit of marketing techniques from me and how to market your home. And see if you can get that next appointment, come back and just show them what you do. Some people are a little bit turned off, not turned off by that, but skeptical of that. And you know, Johnny Lowy's approach, I think, is great. You say, I'll leave my listing agreement at home. I'm just coming over to talk about your house. I'll bring a market analysis. I'll leave that at home. I won't ask you to sign anything when I come back. And you're upping your chances of getting that business. I've had agents call for sale by owners, and they go over there and call me after, and it's like, I got the listing. I'm like, what do you mean you got the listing? Like, I just came in and they said, I'm tired of trying to sell this. What would you charge to try to sell it? Because we hit it off and talked a little, and that was it. I got the listing. So you'd be surprised. Sometimes those people are just going to be ready. So the way to search for them on MLS, if you're looking for the new entry onlys, is you would keep all these activated, these highlighted. Pick your town. So let's see if there's any in Auburn. And then, what's that?
I don't think there are.
So then down here, you've got this little advanced criteria. You go down to entry only. Entry only. Put a Y in the box. You guys ever don't know what to put in the box? You just click on the little magnifying ones and it'll tell you. But put a Y in there and hit add. And there are 0. Oh, it moved it back to expires. Why did MLS do this to me? Jumps around. Now there's still 0.
Go to Shrewsbury.
6. So if I search for them, the nice part about these is when you click on them, typically if it's a true for sale by owner and not an agent representing them, you're going to see, and it's showing instructions for scheduling, call the seller and their phone number. Bam, you got a seller's phone number there, ready to go. Just give them a call and see if you can get a showing. And you know what? Even if you're a new agent and you're scared of it, just go see the house. You don't say a word about listing or making another appointment. That's okay. You can call them back later and say, you know what, I was thinking about it, and I was wondering if you would let me stop in and show you what I did. Or if you don't do that at all, you're getting practice for the future. You're getting comfortable walking through building rapport with people and not asking for sale. Everything is practice. So that's where you can find entry onlys to call up and find the seller.
So what happens if, let's say, this person right here, I approach them, I go in and I establish a relationship with the seller, and they give me the listing, but it's still listed as an entry only.
They still have to cancel that listing, but that office has already been paid. So
Yeah, that also,
So they have to cancel.
they earned their money the day they put it in MLS.
As an entry only. We don't do entry only listings.
no.
We have a limited
I would,
service agreement.
whenever an agent says I've got someone that is interested in doing entry only, I try to coach them into doing if they want to consider it, doing a limited service listing where they're still going to still set up showing time. It's going to be automatic to the seller. No approves it. You're not involved in showings. You're not going to do any open houses. Or maybe you want to, I don't know, you can decide that. You're still going to take the offers and play a part in the deal. You're not going to do any marketing, you're not going to do any professional photos, you're not going to go spend money on Facebook. Those are the kinds of situations where you could. I don't really want to put that out there as an office. I just handle it on a case-by-case basis if someone comes to me and says, someone asked me if I could do an entry only listing. And And usually if the agent knows how to talk to the seller about it, they can convince them that instead of paying $500 to do an entry only listing, let's do a 1.5 or 1.5% list side commission. And the reason you want to do that over a flat fee is people think for sale by owners it's a deal, I can make a really low offer, or they're not serious about selling. From an agent's perspective, there's a lot of agents that don't want to go deal with that seller directly, especially in more traditional firms. They're like, screw the for sale by owner. They're ruining our industry. I'm not gonna advocate for that house. They're ruining our industry.
There are agents who will steer their clients away from entry only just because they don't want to have to deal and do all the, they got to do all the work.
Besides, if you take your buyer to a for sale by owner, you can start to walk into some thin lines of, did I become a dual agent? Am I getting myself into more liability by dealing with the seller directly? So those are some of the things you can tell these sellers and reasons why they should consider, a full listing. And if they have some in their head, well, why can't you do an entry only? Being able to negotiate what you're doing for the money you're earning. If you ever have any of those situations, you can come to talking about it. But
Try to avoid this situation. You only have one, but it's a builder who bought the house and they're building actually 3 lots she's got. So she's got an extra business from it. So that's why I think Tracy said, yeah, we'll let it go with this one.
Right.
We're a full service company. We talk about doing the right job for our clients. So we have to
and I make it clear, if you're doing that, it shouldn't be known to anybody that you're doing a good service. The buyer agent should really never know you're doing a good service. You're just doing a good service. All right, so now searching expired and canceled for sale by owner. So instead of highlighting the actives, you're highlighting expired and canceled. And let's see, we're going to go back 12 months in Shrewsbury, and we're going to see if there's any for sale by owners expired. So we got this one. I assume some of these canceled are probably going to be relisted with another brokerage. So you have to look at the property history just like you did the other expired, and it's still canceled.
Canceled just a couple months ago.
They're ready. So when you look at those, again, you just scroll down to the showing instructions, and typically you're going to see, have it in there? It doesn't have it on there, this one. But typically you're going to see a phone number.
Yeah, there's not a lot of entry-only firms out there.
Yeah, so there's a phone number and email address.
Yeah, and you will see some that will basically won't have even, contact the seller directly, but they don't put the information in there.
So this one listed, let's see if it listed with a full service brokerage. Redfin, discount brokerage, but still a brokerage.
Yeah.
So
next time they'll deliver full. They went from a low service to a mid service to a full service.
Redfin basically rebates on every deal. So you might as well call them.
Is Zip Realty around? They used to do a lot of that.
Zip was bought by Cole Banker.
Oh, they did buy them.
Yeah.
How about isomahouse.com? Did that go away?
No, you'll see them on here as Derek Green Realty.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
so if you see entry only listings that have Derek Green Realty, that's like isomahouse.com. So you could actually look up under tools Derek Green Realty and just look at all their listings. You didn't hear that from me, or did you? So expired for sale by owners are great because you got phone numbers. You typically have a great phone number because they wanted to get contacts when it was on the market, and you can find out, what they're looking to do. Personally, a lot of times I think the older they get, the easier they're going to be to talk to. So if you're talking to expired regulars or expired entry onlys, and they're expired a year ago, and you can get a phone number for them, they're probably going to be more at ease about talking about, if they're like a week expired, and you're going to be
bad experience, and
you're going to be the 100th agent calling them, watch out.
You busted them at a bad time in their life. They just failed at something. You're calling, gleeful. Hey, what are you talking about your house? They didn't sell.
Yeah, exactly. There's offices that will pull up the daily expires every day, and it'll be 17 agents from the same office all calling the same expired on that same day. they're not happy at that point.
No, I would get, the Rotary Bank store I would get, the entire office would get emails daily. Please do, everybody, please do not call 17 whatever street anymore. I've gotten 5 calls today from the office.
Yeah, so. All right, so everybody kind of understands. So that's one place you can search for expired and for sale by owners. For sale by owners, other places you can search for them, Craigslist. They're in Craigslist. They're in, you could go to isoldmyhouse.com, you find addresses. It's kind of hard to get the contact information without saying you're a buyer. There's other buy owner websites. If you Google for sale by owner or buy owner, there's like a buyowner.com website. There's forsalebuyowner.com. There's a bunch of different ones out there you can find for sale by owners on. Keep your eyes open all the time when you're driving. There's always people that think, okay, I'm going to sell my house by owner. They go to Home Depot. They buy a little for sale by owner sign. They throw it on the lawn. They don't put it on Craigslist, social media, MLS. The only place it exists is on that little sign on the lawn. Those are the perfect ones to grab because they don't understand that you need to expose your house to the mass market to get appeal and get it sold. So,
The perfect buyer for your home might not drive by your house ever.
right. Yeah. Right. So keep that in mind. So when you're thinking about expires, pick a town. Do your market research on MLS. If you're keying in on a town, which I recommend because you're niching at that point, go back 5-7 years even. There are people that were on the market 5-7 years ago that decided, hey, there's not enough equity here. You need to wait a while. They might be coming back into the market in the next couple of years.
You did one, it was finding that they purchased a bank-owned property like 7 years ago.
Okay. So here's another one. Looking for people that might want to sell. Go to the search tab. Go to search. You're going to look for solds. And let's say you're going to do single family, and you're going to look in Auburn, put the zip code in for Auburn. And now you want to look for a price range, a time period. So let's say someone that bought their house between 1/1/2008 and it depends on how many quantities you get in here. You can narrow this down a little bit, but let's say 1/1/2000 and let's say 12. Let's just start with 12. So that's going to be the time frame they bought in. Okay. Yeah. And then down here, lender owned. Click on that little yes button. Hit search. These are a great group to go after because if you look at some of these prices, you're going to be like, oh man, they would make a killing if they sold this house right now. These houses were, if you've been around long enough, been watching the market long enough, you know that some of these towns like Auburn and Millbury and less so Worcester, but even in some areas of Worcester, they've come back pretty strong since the market was crappy in 2008.
Well, some neighborhoods in Worcester are starting to revitalize and look nice.
So I don't think there's many agents that would be using this technique to go try to find listings, whether it's mailing them, door knocking, calling them. Just say, I know you bought your house a few years ago as a bank-owned property. I almost bet you probably got some great equity in your house right now. If you had anybody look at the market enough, in case you're thinking about moving up. A lot of these people may not realize that their house is worth a lot more than it is, or they've already had it in their mind. We did that to get into the home buying market, but we've got 3 kids now, and we've got good income, and thinking about the next move. And the great thing about these is most of them are going to be a two sale client. They're going to sell and they're going to buy. So you take one of these that they bought at $125 and it's worth $200 now, and they're going to buy a $300,000 house. It's a $500,000 sale. It's 10 to 12 grand for one client. You don't need a whole lot of those to make a living. So, worth checking out.
I'm sorry, can you tell me how you did that, how you got there?
Sure. So from the search bar, you probably want to do just single families, although you can do condos. You pick the sold criteria, and then you put a time frame in here. And the reason I did 2008 through 2012 is probably could even come back a little from 2012, maybe 2011. Is that when the market was really the worst in the area, or maybe you could go back to like 2007, but anywhere in that time period, 2007 to 2010, it was a pretty bad time. There's a ton of bank-owned properties in the market. A lot of the banks were just selling them as quickly as they can to get money coming back in, so they weren't even. I remember I started getting bank-owned almost around 2009 or 10, and it was like fire sales. It was, you need to get cash back on the books. And it was easy because I tell them what the listed price for, and they'd list it, and they'd sell them fast. Now they've got cash, and they drive me insane. Because all my bank-owned listings I get, it's like they start them up here, and by the time 6 months goes along, now I finally have it at a price that's going to sell it. So I have inventory sit there for a long period of time, which is a real pain. But these properties were primed for the market to sell because the market was going down by the month. So they were just like, get rid of it, get rid of it, get rid of it. So you put your time frame in there, and then this little button here, lender owned, you check yes, and then you hit the search bar. So gets you where you want to go.
Thank you.
All right, back to this. Letters. There's a letter in here I gave you guys. It's just a template. I really recommend you kind of find something and make it your own. This has worked in the past. And for a couple agents that have tried it this year, they've got some calls from it. This is true. There was a report out that sales in Mass hit a 10-year high this year, in July, I think it was. So it's right in there. July's the highest single month since August 2005. It's called seller's market. What does this mean to you? It means that it's your best opportunity to sell in the last 10 years. It's time to re-explore your goals. You guys can read this full on your own, but Why Exit Realty kind of tells them why they should consider Exit Realty to sell their home. Always has this disclosure: if your home is currently listed on the market for sale with another broker, this is not intended to be a solicitation of listing. It's important because sometimes you'll miss an expired that just they spell the street differently,
or it might not show up on the market history.
Right.
And that's a technique some agents use.
Yeah, unscrupulously.
So at the end of that, it says if your home is done, it'll say that kind of. But think of us for the future. It's implied.
Oh, okay. Kind of talked about how we market our homes. If you've never gone to the website exitsellsfaster.com, check it out. It's got kind of tells sellers why they should consider using Exit Realty. A lot of people have asked me about this. If you're not comfortable with it, you can take it out, the home sale guarantee. This is meant to be a hook. This is a hook a lot of top agents that do expireds will use because it does get calls. Like, oh, well, they're going to guarantee me that my house is going to sell. There are, with any kind of offer like this, there's stipulations. The stipulations are you have to agree to list it at a price that I suggest to you to sell it in 60 days. You don't pick your price, and I'm not going to give you the guarantee at that point. Right. And if you ever have and the house has to qualify. And someone asked me the other day, well, how can I, I'm like, it's not going to work for every house. If your house is out in the country and you got 100 acres, this doesn't apply. If your house is a cookie cutter colonial, it's got a 2-car garage and there's 20 others like them that have sold, and it's like, oh, this is the easiest thing I've ever done, the house qualifies. You know, that you could pinpoint a price and say, I know this is going to sell in 60 days. If you're newer to the business, I recommend you let me know before you offer it and just say, can you take a quick look at this also, just so I can give you a second opinion and say, I got them hooked based on this. They're interested in the home sale guarantee. This is the CMA I did. Can you take a quick look at it and see what you think? And I'll take a look and see what you think. Then if you get there to the house and it's just different or it's a disaster, you can say, well, for this guarantee, you're going to have to pay. You're going to have to make this. Just give me whatever stipulations you want, but it's a hook. Nonetheless, it's a hook.
ERA used to say, we'll sell your house. If not, we'll buy it.
So
I don't like that one.
Look at one of the brokers at,
Lamaki does that.
no, but at the convention, the guy that I told the branding thing that I went to,
Oh, yeah.
one of his books, he can't sell, he can still buy it.
Yeah, I mean, this thing.
I'll buy any house for the right price.
Well, that's the thing, he buys it for 85% of his value.
It's probably lower. Did you say
He
85?
said 85, yeah.
Really? I got that.
ERA used to say, you have to have a home inspection, get it totally in good shape, repair anything that the home inspector picks up. You have to give us a 180-day listing agreement. You have to buy your next house through us. You have to price it no more than 5% over our market analysis. And if we do close on it, you do an appraisal now, and we do another appraisal after the 6 months are up. Whatever that appraisal is, you will lock in 90% minus the commission also. So you're basically getting 84%. Oh, it's got to be 6% listing also. If you're going to do anything like this, you have to make it so hard that there's no way it's not going to sell.
Yeah, nothing you just said would make me excited.
Yeah, it's meant to get the call.
It's meant to get the call, but that says 60-day guarantee, or I'll collect no fee. Is it free, or would they still have to pay a co-broker?
That's a bad code.
Well, that's another thing. It'll just not my fee will be free. The co-broker fee is
Joy
free.
does that, doesn't she? Joy,
I think so. There's a lot of agents that do this
Oh,
now.
wait, are you Joy Rostomanicus?
You got to be really careful with that. And if you have,
she did?
Oh, yeah, that's why I'm in this business. Yeah, because I said I can do a hell of a lot better than she did.
you have to be careful. Whatever you do to one
That's why I'm
person with
here.
it, whatever you do to one person, I think you have to do it to everybody. You can't offer it. Well, I don't know. Can you offer the plans to different people differently? Is it from the company or is it from the agent?
It's from the agent, as far as I'm concerned right now. I'll probably put together something that is kind of a guideline for it. All right. Getting back to our steps, try to find the phone numbers. Some people always go as far as, if you look up their names on MLS and the public records, and seeing if you can find them on Facebook. Some people, I've had people tell me I couldn't believe it. I looked up their name and we had a common connection. And it could be your common way into getting in. Say, hey, I noticed we're common friends. I mean, it sounds a little creepy, but people say if you don't put yourself out, but if you don't put yourself out there, you don't get the business either. You know?
Everybody on Facebook is stalking.
It is.
Right. Right. And ownership is public record.
Yeah.
I mean, we got your mortgage companies too, and how much you took out for a mortgage is public record.
Yeah.
Pretty much everything is public record. It's like I'm looking into for the kids for the office this cold directory it's called. So you guys can actually try to find cell numbers by they'll find all kinds of information about a person and like cell number and everything. And the guys that I've talked to that are using it say that people are like, how do you get my cell number? And it's just like the only answer is pretty much anything. Nothing's sacred anymore. So you know, you kind of joke it off or just say, you know, it's just the modern age. Nothing is secret anymore. But
What's it called? Cold directory?
cold directory, yeah. I'm looking into
We
it.
had the cold directory. It's a fat book like that.
Yeah,
Big blue.
it's supposedly pretty successful finding cell phone numbers based on address.
Yeah, Microsoft space on it too.
It's a directory. No, I think there's also one I made notes of there that well, you can search by username and email address and find phone numbers by email address. I think that's an email address only. Like a lead on the internet, you can search that email address and try to find phone number.
Stuff the CIA and the FBI used to do every day.
Yeah,
We can now do it occasionally.
I think it was the cold directory that said that's one of the same tools the FBI uses to find people. Some of the stuff you can do, create a Facebook ad for expireds, door knock 10 properties per week. RPR market analysis is one thing you can do. It's a tool through MLS that you can, once you have a router ID, you can get access to. Any of you guys using RPR at all? You like it?
I do. I don't use it for CMAs. I use it for a quick quick guidelines,
Mhm.
and then I just usually go back to that.
One of the things that.
I love RPR, my house is worth a shitload more money than I thought it was.
Oh, yeah.
So it can't be worth.
The one
can't
thing
be
you can get
accurate.
there is some nice market reports, but also, I'm eager to see what they look like. The new websites we have on the community pages, they'll have that update, instead of weekly, market trend reports that you can probably just print out right from the website and take with you to the neighborhood you work in. It'll show them, you can, or circle it or highlight it. Hey, look,
Off of RPR?
no, off of the new website.
The new website.
Cool, okay.
Yeah, when's that coming up? I just talked them through some changes tonight. They said it's live tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah. If you're gonna go door knocking, you want to have something you can leave behind. If you're gonna go to the door, you might as well leave something. Get some clear baggies. There's a place you can get clear baggies really, really cheap. With a little hole in the top so you can stick something into it. If you're knocking expired, might not be a bad idea. Just a letter like that in your business card. If it's just door knocking in the neighborhoods, it's something a market trend report or something, that talks, tells them why they should consider listing with you. So, I'll try to work up a few things with just general door knocking, but you want to leave something. You want to have something to leave behind. I don't know if you guys have been around long enough, but a couple of agents got these little candy boxes. You can get these candy boxes for like $1 a piece. I think they're $1 a piece. They might even be cheaper than that. They have it's basically like your business card printed on it. It's almost like a fortune cookie box. You can stuff them with some candies. And they got your mug on all 4 sides of them with your phone number and everything. And, you could just leave it on the doorstep. And, if they take that inside, they're going to probably put it on the table. They're going to put it on the table and see your face for the next 3 or 4 days while they're eating that candy out of there. It's surprised that people actually eat candy off the doorstep.
That's what I'm telling you.
People will do that. I would do it.
I think it'd be better if you could get it handed to you from the person.
Right.
If it's just left there, it's like.
Mailing a handwritten note afterwards. Sorry I missed you. Market's red hot. If you're thinking about selling this year, give me a call. Love to help you out. Those can go a long way. So even if you just door knocked, I've even had agents tell me they didn't door knock, but they sent that. Oh, I stopped by and your house just to see if your insurance is still selling. Sorry I missed you. Give me a call if you're thinking about selling.
Because they don't want to knock on the door.
You can say, so you're not lying. Say, I was in your neighborhood the other day. I missed you.
Sorry I missed you.
Because I went by like this.
Right? But yeah, anything like that. If you're going to do an expired list and create your expired list, make sure you mail it and work it throughout the year. Make sure every month that you're doing something new, you're going back in and checking, making sure that they're all still expired and they're not back on the market. But continue to work your list. One touch, there's too many agents in this business that are all one touch. Like one expired letter to 100, and then I'm going to move on to another town, another list to 100. It's ineffective. Any farm marketing you do, you have to have consistent touches. Half the time, the only thing you're going to get the first touch is they won't even know what your name is. The second one, maybe they notice your name, maybe even not. Third time, maybe why do I keep getting stuff from Candy Betancourt? Okay, now I know her face and her name. And you have to think of it like that. I mean, think about how you go through your own mail. It's just like, get creative with your mail. Some agents will say I heard one at the convention, but they got envelopes with a little window in it, and it said in the window was overdue. So they created a letter right in that same spot had the word overdue, and it was your home is overdue to sell. People. What they said, they get calls from it because people, and it's like.
I think after the initial anger, you would appreciate the genius of it.
And there are some people who basically will have a letter all typed up and say, you know what, I was thinking about and then I'll handwrite it. It'll be all crumpled up like they pulled out of the trash, and they write on it, I was nervous about doing this or something that, it's basically, it's a letter that's all crumpled up and then
Right.
folded.
So if you took like that letter, the expired letter, and you sent it out, I'll fold it up. And then obviously it's not going to come back to you, but you take another one and you fold it off, and then you just pick it all up, and then put a little sticky note on it. Please don't throw me away again. Or on the back side, say, please don't throw me away again. And mail it to them. I mean,
So great.
it's clever. It could get a laugh. If you get a laugh, you may get a call. You know, people want a clever mark.
They see that's creative. They say, boy,
Don't another
this
tree.
guy or this girl, they're clearly thinking outside the box. That's what my
And
house
probably
my
higher
house
in
is
neighborhoods.
special. I need somebody special.
You know, because they're probably a couple bucks a piece. I've heard of agents buy those little red dynamite mailing tubes, buy red ones, and then put a letter in there with a candy. So when you get it, you're like,
Yeah.
you know, and you want to know what's in there. Or you could buy those glitter bombs, like you guys see on the.
Oh, when you open them, it falls all over the
No,
place?
it blows up and all the glitter goes everywhere.
Oh, that's even worse.
No, that would.
Now you're gonna have to clean up.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good.
My sister-in-law, I won't open up a freaking card from her unless I'm standing over the basket, because she always dumps the little letters and glitter things. It's always in my cards, and so I'll open it right over the trash. I'm in a mess.
Getting around towards the end of the year, even just expired to change things up with the group that you're mailing to, and right, no, Happy New Year cards. Here's wishing you a great 2016, and your goal in 2016 where they're selling, move on to your next adventure, give me a call. It works. It's personal, and you wrote it. And you took the time out of your day to do it. It's worth more to people. And if you get a card, you're going to open the damn card and see what's wrong. I don't care. I don't care what it says. You're going to read the damn card.
Yeah.
You know. So great things to do. Let's see what else there was. That was probably about it. Follow up all the time. Make sure that whoever you have a conversation with, they go up in some kind of follow-up list so that you constantly keep working these people that you have.
And change it, open house, send them a handwritten note card. A month later, you make a phone call. A month later, you shoot them an email. Always do something different, because you never know. Some people, you just leave them a voice message, they might not call back. Send them an email, they might not call back. But if you're consistent with it, I mean, I do 2 for Tuesdays. I've been doing it for a year now that I left convention. Every single Tuesday.
I know, you're consistent.
I get like 15 to 20 likes on it every week, typically. But more and more people I hear, they say, wow, I see, wow, you really like that company. They mention shit. So more people are reading it than are clicking on liking it. So you never know. You just got to keep at it. And
that's the unknown part of Facebook that none of us realize is you have likers and you have lookers. You probably have 10 times more lookers than likers.
yeah,
So anything you're doing on Facebook is good, as long as it's good stuff you're putting out there, not the bunnies of selfies. And if you're too one-sided, it's not going to work for you. If you're all business, no personality, all personality, no business.
there was a class, it was actually a Keller Williams guy who said, when you're doing stuff on Facebook or any social media, it should be 12 to 1. You should say, you're really special, you're really special, you're really special, do like 12 different, say something nice about others, and then, hey, I'm pretty damn good myself. 1 out of 12. So that's a kind of good rule that you don't want to, oh, I'm friggin' wonderful. You can say I'm wonderful without saying you. I'm so happy for Tom and Sally just bought West Mountain Street. That's cool. That works. It's your posting saying something, congratulations, to somebody else. That's always probably the best way. It makes you look good and makes them look good. And it's subliminal and it's a soft selling technique.
Video, you can do video. Pete Morris did it. It was, they're very archaic looking. They're not meant to be highly professional looking. But just, hey, I'm at an open house at blank address. I'll be here till 2. Take a couple, 360s of the best part of the house, you know, just little stuff like that. People will watch and be like, oh, you know. Or, you know, I'm out with clients looking at some houses, that kind of stuff. You can grow an image that you're a highly busy real estate agent and have very little business. So, anything else you guys have questions on? Talk about? There's a whole other section which is probably on objection handling and okay, what do I do now that I got to leave? But that's for another day.
Yeah, when you make a call, your goal for the call would be to survive. Get a listing would be great.
That is one good thing to go over quickly now is if you start to do some of this stuff, you will get people that engage you, and you're going to be like, okay, crap, what do I do now? I don't know what I'm doing yet. I've never had a listing. I've never had a buyer. What do I do? You book an appointment. You say, great, let's book a time when we can get together and give yourself a few days. Say, how does Friday 1 o'clock sound? So that when you get off the phone, you can say, crap, Tracy, crap, team, what do I do? I don't know how to do this. And you'll find the help you need. But you never want to prevent yourself from getting out there because you don't feel like you have all the knowledge you need. You have what you need. If you run into a question you don't know the answer to, say, well, let me check on that and get back to you. It's a very good question. And then you move on. You try to book the appointment. That's what you do. That's all you need to do. You should never be starting to talk numbers. And even any experienced agent, for the most part, they're going to defer on, well, what do you think my house is worth? And, you know, what would you list it for? What would your commission be? We're going to talk about all that when I come back with my market analysis. You don't want to go there yet. You don't have your plan yet. You want to be able to go back and do your market analysis and search the deeds and the mortgages to see what they owe on the property and see, you know, what you can find out about them and in the house so that you can go back in there fully equipped and ready to go so that you are ready to handle their objections and ready to get the listing at the best price and the best terms. All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
And I learned a lot here. Thank you so much.
We have a power hour tomorrow?
We do not.
No.
No, we'll resume those next week. Yeah, I'll put a post on tonight.
Alicia was going to see me tomorrow